This is Pod Populi, podcast for the people.
Welcome back to the Healthy Pod. It's your friend Nicole, and today's episode is going to shake things up in the best possible way. Not only are we chatting with someone amazing, he is in a very different surrounding. So I can't wait for you to check it out. You know that I love talking about the intersection of high performance and deep healing. And today's guest lives at that crossroads. He's the best-selling author of Own Your Anxiety, a global wellness coach, a speaker, a former media CEO turned wellness warrior, and the guy behind the unapologetically bold fucking fit over 40 movement. Please welcome the one and only Julian Brass. Julian left the hustle and chaos of the corporate world behind to help people, especially high achievers, males focused, to transform anxiety into power, rewire the way they live, and build habits that actually feel good. If you've ever thought, I know I need to slow down, but I don't know where to start, this episode is for you. Julian, I am so excited to have you here. Welcome.
I'm pumped to be here. And I love that intro. It's the best I ever received in my entire life. I'm grateful for it. And I think it's really cool and organic that I'm actually here behind the wheel doing this with you. I wanted to, like you said, it's not usually the environment. I wanted to keep it way more organic, way more real.
I love it.
So I'm just excited to be here, and I'm excited to see where you take our conversation.
Sweet. Well, I'm excited because there are a bunch of similarities between you and I. Bringing up the corporate piece, staying in the corporate piece for a long time, getting into, very senior roles. You were running one of Canada's fastest growing media companies. And obviously there has been a shift, but I'd love to take it back because on the outside, when you were in this, media company, growing your career, it looked like a dream. Like everyone was kind of looking from outside in saying, wow, this is the best thing ever. He is amazing. What was happening on the inside at that time?
So what was happening at the at that time was I was building this media, enterprise, and it was going great. Like you actually, I'm surprised you were able to just have such insight there because we didn't even speak about all of what you just said. I'm very impressed. I got to be honest. You nailed it. I was killing it. The company was doing great. We had a big team. We had lots of clients. We had lots of happy readers and members.
Yeah.
And like on the surface, I was really proud and grateful and happy. But behind that surface, I knew that there was sort of more to life and that I was sort of here for a higher purpose, if you will. And I really wanted to share with the world what I was able to do for myself in the almost 10-year journey of building and selling that company, in which I, discovered mental health. Like literally, I didn't even know what it meant until I got anxiety as an entrepreneur. Right. I didn't understand wellness. I didn't understand holistic health. I didn't know about a lot of these things, but by necessity through that journey of entrepreneurship, I needed to figure it out for myself because I was struggling secretly. It was a different time, Nicole. It wasn't common for people, entrepreneurs, and especially male entrepreneurs to open up at that point. And,
so true.
2008, 9, 10, 11. So I thank God I found the wellness modalities. I found a better way to live. I discovered, internal peace and how to find center. And from there, I started to really get deep into this type of work. Eventually, after I was coming to the end of my journey with my old company, which is called Notable, I decided that I wanted to, share these tools with the world. That led me to sell the company. Finish up a certification as a health coach, and then write my book, Own Your Anxiety.
Wow. I mean, I feel like I have a million questions coming out of that. I remember Notable. I remember you and I having a few meetings way back in the day. I was actually nominated for Notable Awards. Like, I feel like there's this really interesting intersection. But
that's where it comes from. I get it. Okay.
Yeah. What I want to understand is, leaving behind this success, firstly, was there a turning point where you were like, I understand now there are healing journeys, there is mental health, there is physical health, there is wellness. Was there a moment where you realized this life is not working for me anymore? And, what did that turning point look like for you?
There were a few, if I'm being completely honest.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just one. The first taste of, wow, I need to make a fucking change happened by virtue of like serendipitously ending up from yoga class for the first time, doing like real yoga, let alone. It was at a time when I really needed to feel a sense of grounding and internal, comfort and internal just safety, if you will.
Yep.
And I found it in that heated classroom. And that was like the first time. And then, I was not perfect after that. Like, it's not like I just became this like, healthy, non-partying, non-drinking, elevated human. But I saw something in that yoga class, and it to this day, like 15 years later or so, I've never forgotten about seeing the light in the darkness.
Yep.
And if I'm being completely honest, which I try to be always, the biggest sort of like turning points, and I say plural, are all of the times after that I thought I was living well,
mm-hmm.
and then I would allow myself to get caught up in like phases of partying too hard, big nights out, chasing shiny objects that didn't really exist
mm-hmm.
in reality, and then being like, wait a second. Like, this sucks. I don't like feeling this way. I don't want this.
Yep.
And, trying to swim upstream against the current, come back up, feel good again, recalibrate, recenter.
Yep.
And then only to do it again 6 months or a year later, let's say, find myself back in one of those, like, and it happened a few times over the past 15 years. And each one, I came back a bit stronger, a bit more mindful, a bit more aware, a bit more confident in myself and in the path that I knew I'm really here to be walking on.
Right.
So it wasn't an overnight switch. I'm not an overnight success by any means. I've taken several steps forward and several steps back.
Mm-hmm.
And as I got older and I started to, turn close to 40 and then finally turned 40 years old, that's when I got in the best shape of my life physically, yes, but also mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And that is what spawned fucking Fit Over 40 or fit40.com. It was finally being like, okay, I know how to live. Like in the sense that I know there's different ways to live.
I love
that. And I know now how I want to live. And that's what really did it for me.
Amazing. So I have an interesting question because I left the corporate world and came into this place probably later in my 30s. Now I'm over 40 myself, but I personally had this fear of what people would think about my reinvention, my leaving corporate. Here I am, CMO at Good Life, VP marketing at Tim Hortons, really high level C-suite positions. And suddenly I'm kind of leaving everything and going into wellness, fitness, helping people unlock their best life. Did you ever have a fear of what are people going to think of your reinvention? Or did you just embrace the unknown from the beginning?
Yeah, it's first of all, amazing resume.
Thank you.
Good for you. Go like come on. I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know that, but to be honest with you, I didn't. I think one of my very few blessings is that I don't care all that much about what people think of me.
Love
and
it.
I sort of never really have, like, to a degree. I don't know where it comes from or why, but I don't care that much. Like, it's not like I walk around thinking like, oh, if you don't like me, fuck you. I'm not aggressive about it, but
right.
I'm me, and I'm cool with the fact that like I can, vibe with all sorts of different people.
Sweet.
From executives to hippies to religious people to atheists. Like, from yogis to powerlifters. Like, that's just like who Julian is. And like, I think maybe when I was younger, I tried to fit in a bit more, and I quickly realized that like that's just not who I am. I kind of like do my own thing, and if you like it, cool, and if not, that's also cool. And I think that gave me, I don't know, like a sense of just, I'm going to go for what I believe is where I can really, serve people, make a good living, and enjoy my life. And I've always done that, looking back on my entrepreneurial pursuits, which started when I was really young, like stress balloons at 8 years old and then throwing parties at 14. I've always just like done stuff that I thought people in my like cohort.
Yep.
And my stage of life would enjoy and would like resonate with. What I've never done is, been like, I've got the idea for 60-year-olds, for example,
right.
Or like in my 40s, I understand what kids want. I've never done that. Everything I've ever launched in my life has been where I was at the time, right? Like notable, it was the media company. It was all about millennials. I was a millennial. I was a young, driven professional. It was supposed to be the resource for young professionals who were driven. Own Your Anxiety. I got anxiety out of nowhere. I mastered it. I made it my secret edge. I wrote about it. After that, I built a program where I helped people around the world launch their own brands. I'm good at building brands, so I did it. At 40, I turned 40. I got fucking ripped without trying nearly as hard as I did when I was in my 30s and couldn't get rid of my fat belly. And I'm like, I think I figured this out. Let me teach people. So yeah, I'm blessed in the sense that I didn't care too much about the imposter syndrome and all that. That being said, I do want to leave all your listeners with the following. I remember in one of my many yoga certifications, I was blessed to train under some of the greatest yogis in the world. And one of them, Ron Reed, said to me, or he said to someone else in the training, I'll never forget. This person was like, I'm really, I don't feel confident to teach. And they were coming up on their first certification. They had enough experience to teach, no doubt, but they didn't have the confidence. And I remember Ron saying something to the effect of, as long as you know how to do a downward dog, and your student may not know how to do a downward dog as well as you can, you have something to teach.
Wow.
So that I think that's really, really helpful, hopefully for everybody listening, because imposter syndrome is real.
It's very real.
I believe, as long as you know a little more than the people who are want to learn from you, then you've got something. And I think the biggest problem in life is that we're too fucking concerned with other people's thoughts of us, and we really have no business being worried about what they think of us, because they're either haters or they're jealous. And again, I don't mean that with aggression, but I mean, if you look at people who you love and who love you, most of them, for the vast majority, they will not tell you to go take risks. They will not tell you to go try new things. They won't tell you to get out of your comfort zone or their comfort zone, not because they don't want what's like best for you, but they think that by staying in your comfort zone, that's what's best for you, unless it's like a toxic place to be. But usually it's not. Usually it's just not that great.
Yeah.
But people who love us often are like, well, stay where it's not that great because at least you know it, and it's safe and you can, get a job or start something and have decent income and, have a roof over your head, et cetera, et cetera. And I really think it's important for every single person who has a vision and has a dream to not let the comfort zone become the place that you actually are comfortable to stay.
Yeah, absolutely. The comfort zone is also a place where other people find comfort in the current version of you. And change and manifesting your dream life or becoming an entrepreneur or following a passion or taking a risk, that means you'll likely change. And that feels very uncomfortable for other people. So I think the advice is amazing. Trust yourself and, go for it is amazing. So you mentioned a little bit about Own Your Anxiety, the book that you wrote. What led you to this reframe of anxiety as a gift, and how do you teach others to apply it? Asking for a friend.
So, sure. I got lots of friends like that too. they come at multiple times at moments.
Yeah.
So early on in my career, when I was 24, 25, 26 years old, starting notable, that's when I got anxiety. And, there were a lot of factors that led to it, from poor lifestyle choices to some negative habits, constant fight or flight, trying to start a business without, a massive, VC or trust fund behind me or savings. Me at that point actually being a little bit too concerned, I think, with will people take me and my business seriously?
Mm-hmm.
So I learned how to look at anxiety as energy, as negative energy, and shift it, harness it, not run from it or take a pill for it or pretend it's not necessarily there, but rather to look at it as energy, just energy that is, currently manifesting as negative. It feels uncomfortable. It's leading to various sensations that I may not want to have in that given moment.
Yeah.
Right. From dry mouth to sweats to butterflies,
sure,
to racing thoughts, racing heartbeat. But I started to literally, I was a pretty young person, 15 years ago or so, preparing for a massive sales pitch, in a boardroom where it was my little startup and I was the only person repping it, and 5, 6, 10 decision makers.
It's true. It's a big deal.
Major things were going to be dictated by whether or not we would close a deal. But I remember there were a couple of moments where somehow it's I saw that negative energy and I said, I'm going to shift it. I'm going to use it as positive, charismatic, dynamic energy instead.
Wow.
And I'm going to use that to, shine. And it started to happen. And I started to see that, wow, I can leverage this. I can harness it. I can channel it. I can direct it. And from there, I really got good at it. And then I did more research on Bob. And as I started to find that there's complete experts, pro athletes, top musicians, they were people who, said they suffered from anxiety, and they were able to harness it and, go in front of 20, 30, 40,000 people and do their thing.
Yeah.
And shine, right?
It's pretty amazing.
World-class levels. And I started to say, hey, maybe there's something here. I'm not this genius who figured it out for himself. I just had a moment, it worked. Now I see other people are doing it too. And then I started to want to be a detective around anxiety, stress, and mental health. And I started to really sort of study it. And my book took almost 5 years to write and research. There's 99 or medical references in the back. I teach myself how to go through medical papers and research papers, collaborate with a bunch of different neurologists and doctors and, real professionals, athletes. There's a lot of people who contribute to the book in different ways. And I saw it through the research and through lived experience and interviews that my hunch was correct. Unless you are of at a huge hospital said to me, unless you're part of the big A, 10% of anxiety sufferers who truly do need to be medicated and need to be under some sort of treatment plan. Unless you're in that 10%, the other 90%, obviously give or take a couple, numbers here, maybe percentages or percentiles, but the vast majority of anxiety sufferers don't need medication. They need a lifestyle change.
Wow.
And he said, who are you writing for? I said, the little A, as he called it, which is the vast majority. And he said, good, because you have no business writing about the big A. You're not a doctor. I go, damn right, you're right. I agree. And from that moment on, I really took even more conviction and pride behind the message of the book. That if you can make changes to your life, you can get in the driver's seat of your mental health, your anxiety, and all that good stuff. And within that, there's sort of two quick streams that I'll take everybody through. One is looking at anxiety from a place of, why is this happening? Is it something to do with the way I am living my life in terms of higher level thinking? Not like, am I drinking enough water, or am I having too much caffeine, or am I, doing a bunch of drugs and then I feel off the next day.
Right.
And that's the physical. We'll get there. I'm talking about am I in the wrong career, in the wrong relationship? Am I abusing myself with my own thoughts, and the way I speak to myself? Like higher level things that, require big changes. Is that what's creating the anxiety? If that's creating the anxiety, then, it's going to take realigning, and course correcting what it is that you're doing with your life. That's one stream. And then the other is much more tactical and much more physical in nature. And that is literally just looking at your habits and your lifestyle and, saying, are any of these contributing to my anxiety, or are they working? Right? For me, if I was drinking too much caffeine, or back in the day, it was Red Bull, like an idiot. Sorry, Red Bull. I was drinking, way too much Red Bull and energy drinks. And, I was drinking too much alcohol, and I was constantly just like trying to fix myself with like another substance, whatever it was,
right.
This to take off the edge, this to give me the edge, this because I'm
the
tired,
uppers and the downers.
I can't sleep. It was like a freaking a hamster wheel, even more so than a roller coaster, a hamster wheel. And I think a lot of people today live that way. It's like, I'm tired, so I need coffee, caffeine, Red Bull, prescription drug, or, street drug. And then I got way too much energy, so I need something to calm me down. And then I take the thing to calm me down, whether it's a pill or alcohol or weed. And then I now have no motivation and no energy, so I got to do it all again. And they get into this crazy cycle. And I was once there. So it really requires us to look within and, again, ask ourselves, is my anxiety coming from, something that is just out of alignment in terms of how I'm living? Or is it based on my lifestyle?
I love it. I love it. So I'm going to take a quick break from our sponsors, and then we're going to get into the best advice that you have for our listeners. Okay, so we are back with Julian Brass, and what I want to ask you about is what advice you could potentially give some of our listeners or some of your clients. So you talk a lot about building micro habits that can change your macro life. What are 2 to 3 that you find most effective for your clients?
Yeah, for sure. So, my focus is on men who are very successful, doing amazing things in their lives, great guys who are out of shape. Right? Yep. Either really out of shape or slightly out of shape. That's like the main focus. Guys who have it all on paper, and they really are great guys, but they're 20 to 80 pounds overweight, and they're walking around sluggish, low energy, immune system's kind of shot. So I want to just preface, like, that's who I'll give the advice to. Micro habits for guys like that in specific, and granted, this could probably work for everybody. Micro habits. Number one, I think before we even start talking about things we can put in our body, we got to talk about what are we putting into our mind, right? Yeah. There's a million ways to lose weight, to lift weights, to improve your cardio. There's so many workout plans. Yeah. So many nutritionists out. Everybody knows that today you can just go on Google or ChatGPT even and ask for advice. It's so advice is plentiful. There's an overabundance, but where we still need help is on this. So it's on understanding, how do I grow in my mind and go ahead and achieve my desired outcome, right? And by knowing what your desired outcome is, then you can also reverse engineer and start to look at the actions you have to take to get there. So I actually, my first piece of advice is you got to ask yourself, everybody, why do you want this? In my world, this is to get in great shape, to lose fat, to put on muscle, to have more energy, to have more confidence, and to just feel better. Why do you want that? Why does it matter? Right? If I just throw hey, here's our workout plan at someone, it's great. I'm not that narcissistic to say wow, mine is that much better than anything in the world. It actually is the most optimized I've ever seen for men over 40 who have more aches and pains and shitty metabolism. But there's other great things. Bottom line, if everybody in the world were just to eat healthier, work out and move more and drink more water, they would be significantly healthier. Right? Now, will you get abs? Will you get a great physique and this and that? That maybe not. That requires more custom tuning. But you'll be in a pretty good spot. You know what I'm saying? What people lack is, why does it matter? Why do I care? So I want to invite everyone. First micro habit is ask yourself why. Why does it matter? I like to tell my guys, and I work with like this type of man where I can swear and I can really be kind of like approach it with tough love. I say, why are you breathing? Why the fuck are you breathing? Why does it matter that you're breathing? Do you know? Have you thought about it? Most guys say, no, I haven't thought about it. And it's like, well, yeah, that's why you're, one more drink or one more fry away from a fucking heart attack or the ER. Because you don't know why. You've been head down, building an empire, making money for your family, but making money for your toys, making money for your trips and your vacation home. But like, you don't know why you're actually doing it. So the light bulb goes off. We start with the why.
Yep.
Another micro habit is, and this is very, very, very top level, but I really encourage people to start moving because the body is the gateway to the mind.
Yes.
Move every day. Move every single day. So I love, using quantifiable metrics because it's sort of easy to hit and you get that little release of dopamine for getting the goal. So like 10,000 steps. It is so easy. We've all seen it now. Get 10,000 steps a day.
Yep.
Push yourself to get 10,000 steps a day and watch what will happen to how you feel, how your decisions in the kitchen are going to shift for the better, how it's going to probably stimulate you to say, well, maybe I should start stretching more.
Yep.
That's another thing I would say. Stretch every day. I would invite everybody to have a very brief moments in the mornings before they look at their phone, before they get caught up in all the responsibilities, and just ask themselves why, and then start to move and start to do some stretching and just watch what this can happen. I have all my guys start with a morning routine. And, these are, a lot of them come to me, they're pretty burly and they got all sorts of ego.
Yes.
And within a week or two, they're like, oh my gosh, that like morning gratitude thing is really making a big difference in my life.
It makes a huge difference.
So
people think it's woo-woo, but it's not woo-woo.
I really, really, really encourage hydration. Water, not flavored water. Sparkling water, not flavored sparkling water. Real clean water.
Yep.
Water is such a hack that way too many people do not leverage, and it's so abundant and so easy to get. So those are some of the micro habits that would lead to bigger macro habits.
Yeah, I love that. I think I have a very similar philosophy in my practice where, exactly what you said, everybody knows they should eat a little bit better, move a little bit more, but this magic of finding your why and really going after it and truly understanding really helps build those micro habits that can make long lasting change. I love moving more. I love stretching. The gratitude thing is really great advice. So in your work with high performing clients, what's the one thing that they often resist, but they need the most?
Well, one thing when it comes to like weight loss, which, a lot of guys come to me, whether they want to lose a lot of weight or they want to just like have a body recomposition from like fat loss to more muscle.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that a lot of people resist is actually like getting serious about nutrition and understanding it. Okay. So I have people, track everything they eat for at least a few weeks. The big thing, I want them all to track it because I want them to become like a ChatGPT bot about looking at a plate of food or looking at a menu or looking at a nutritional label and really understanding what's going on. So that's one place that I get a lot of resistance. Another thing that is interesting that you would think I get, I met with a lot of resistance, but I'm not. There's a slight like, and then they're like, okay, cool, I get it. Is everybody who joins my program, F-It 40, they have to give up alcohol for the first 30 days.
Love it.
And Nicole, you would think guys are like, no way, it's brutal. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. What do you? No, most guys, it seems, this is my own like sort of theory now. I've been doing this for a while,
Yeah.
and hearing firsthand. I think most guys are looking for their excuse to stop drinking.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Days. Maybe, what's that?
I couldn't agree with you more. I think you're right.
Yeah, maybe they're not looking to become sober for life, but everybody who drinks, like, even just on weekends or a glass of wine with, several meals a week, I think we all deep down somewhere know life might be better, or at least my health might be better without it. So I think they're looking for that push to say, you know what, now I got an excuse. 30 days, it's achievable, it's doable. And, my coach told me I got to do it. And I don't want to let the community of guys down. So I'm going to do it. So
yeah.
we've created a really amazing 30-day onboarding. And part of that is no alcohol. There's a bunch of other parts, but the big thing that, to your question about what people resist, it's the alcohol thing. But as soon as they like say, okay, cool, I'm in, I really see time and time again how happy they are to have at least known what life is like alcohol free for 30 days. Some of them start drinking again, some of them don't. That's a whole different conversation. But that's one thing that I'm really proud of, and I'm proud of the guys. I'm proud of our program for giving them that road to experience it. I think whether it comes to alcohol, foods, drugs, masturbation, gambling, TV at night, like you name the vice, I really, from my whole heart and all of my education and my experience, I really believe that we all owe it to ourselves if we are at all addicted to any one of those types of behaviors. And It doesn't even mean every day. It means like if we've now created some sort of habit that could be even once a week or once a month, that is some form of an addiction. And I think life is best lived when we can be addiction free, excuse me. So I really like to, encourage my guys to try, anything that you think might be driving you, you got to drive it. So let's flip the script. And I always say to people when it comes to, giving up alcohol for a while or giving up, sugar for a while, like I say, bro, it's always going to be there. Don't worry. It's not going anywhere. All the fried shit and the sugar and the premium alcohol that you love, it's not going anywhere. It'll be right there as soon as you prove to yourself that you can do this. Okay.
I
you want to
love
go
that.
right back face first? Go for it. But let's see what it feels like to get back in control of your life and all of your habits. What feels better, to be empowered from that or to have, fun with vices? Just make decisions for yourself, but make decisions from a place of empowerment and awareness, right? Not necessity.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I mean, I think, it is a challenge, but I think a lot of the idea around any kind of social habit like that, whether it's drinking, drugs, or anything, is very much, it becomes a habit because of your network of friends. Maybe you go out every weekend, maybe you drink a lot every weekend, and that becomes part of the persona and the lifestyle, and giving that up can be daunting because, again, maybe people will perceive you differently. Maybe you'll perceive yourself differently, but just giving it a shot for 30 days, you see how tremendously you change, and then it's all worth it. The question I have is, has anyone cheated, and do you know when people cheat?
Yeah, I've had several guys cheat, quite a few. A lot of them tell me that they did, or they tell the other guys in the program, because we have various opportunities to like connect as a community. Where some guys love it and they say that's for me. Other guys don't. It's totally up to the individual. But, we have like group Zooms and stuff like that, anybody can hop on every single week. Guys have told the other guys, I didn't do a full month. And, no one gives them a hard time. However, I will say that, I've seen consistently now that when a guy stops, let's just say the alcohol example, the guys who can't go a full 30 days, those are the guys who do not get the best results in the program either.
Sure.
They're just way too easy on themselves.
Yeah.
They don't find that why. They don't find the discipline. And for me, as the founder and as the head coach, I'm disappointed for them. You know, we still get paid the same. It's not about the company doing any worse. I genuinely want what's best for them.
For sure.
And, you know, I'm disappointed for them because if you're going to take a shot at something that obviously you've been thinking about, your health, your lifestyle for some time before you find us, why not just see what life is like on the other side? Right. And it's like, you gotta just get to that point where you really get more comfortable with, like we said earlier, being in the unknown for a bit, getting out of your comfort zone, going to that work dinner and not drinking.
Yep. It's huge.
You know, or even not going to a couple of work dinners and instead rescheduling them for work coffees for your first month. If your mental muscles aren't there yet and you feel like you're going to get sucked into, you know, peer pressure when there's booze around, let's just say, take a different outlet, take a different avenue. You know, it's not like you know, have a worse business. No, still crush it in business, but just set yourself up for success. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But what's amazing, and this is one of the hacks in our program, is that if we can get a guy to go from here to here and drop a bunch of weight, retrain their taste buds, reframe the relationship with hunger even, and, you know, not needing that feeling of being full all the time and, you know, not needing the emotional comfort of, you know, eating food when they're on the couch at the end of the day. If we can just get them to the other side, then all of a sudden, if they want to start dabbling back into different things, it's amazing, Nicole. The body chemistry has changed.
Yep.
And all of a sudden it's like, you can have your ice cream or have your, you know, your alcohol here and there, but do that with not a massive belly hanging over your belt. Or, you know, do that without man boobs. Look at how much more enjoyable it is.
100%. Yes.
Go ahead.
I was going to go into a couple of places. The first is, you just mentioned this time of day, whether it's that 3 o'clock snacking time or that end of day, you know, you've worked your ass off, whether you're male or female or anything in between, whatever it is, you've worked your ass off. You've had a day, you've dealt with your family, your kids, all the things. You finally sit down on the couch. It's, I don't know, 8:30, 9, 10 o'clock, whatever it is. You finally finished all your emails. And all you fucking want to do is snack on good, yummy, bad for you shit. How do you work with your clients to get past that literally emotional fulfillment rather than innate hunger in those moments?
Yeah. So first of all, it's about having some decent hacks. Okay. So like if you really want to snack on healthy things. Okay, that's one. If you feel like you're hungry, but you're actually not, you know, have a sparkling water, throw some fruit in there, some vegetables, some cucumber, some lemon. You know, have a protein shake, budget some calories to have a sweet whatever you might want. You know, it's about just living life with awareness. And by the way, I really enjoyed this conversation. I missed my exit. I just want everyone to know.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Have to do a big loop. So have awareness. And, you know, set yourself up for success.
Yeah.
I also, you know, always tell my guys, like, you don't have to be 100% of the time. You've got to be 100%, 80% or 90% of the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you want to like let yourself enjoy whatever that sweet, good, yummy food is here and there, like, cool, go for it. But you gotta be real with yourself. If enjoying the sweet, good, yummy food is what got you into the place you're in, and that's why you found us or you found Nicole, then it's like, bro, it doesn't work. Like, but it will work if you start to make living life, for the sake of living life well and healthy, the way of life.
Love
and then
it.
you want to have treats here and there. You could totally pull that off. That's what I do. I by no means am like a perfect, you know, monk with my life, but I'm really dialed in most of the time. And like I mentioned, when you change your body composition, all of a sudden your body can, you know, be more forgiving. And, you know, from a male perspective, especially because, you know, I help guys put on muscle and, you know, really build like a manly physique, you know, that sort of like V-shaped physique. We really specialize in helping guys do that while becoming holistically much more healthy. when you get to a certain point and you're actually achieving real strength, giving yourself some of those treats can actually assist with building a better physique.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And that's when there's like more tricks and hacks. Like save it for a day you're doing your legs. Save it for a day when you're doing a big upper body workout. That's when you should have, or you should allow yourself, if you want, to have more treats. Because you can actually use those calories more effectively to help you reach your goals. And speaking of reaching your goals, when that mental thought starts coming in, like, oh, I just want to, curl up on the couch and do whatever, or I just closed the deal, I therefore want to go get hammered or, drink 2 bottles of wine with my friends or my wife. It's like, well, why is that the excuse to do that? Like why is that the excuse? Like, why can't we celebrate more intelligently? I actually think it's a huge issue with society.
It is.
Where did it become like the reward for life achievements is to do things that scientifically and statistically actually take away from our life?
Absolutely. I say this all the time. This is so funny that you say this, because I say, why do we always have to, go out for dinner to celebrate, or go for coffee, or do brunch, or have mimosas, or whatever it is? Why can't we just do a fun workout class, or, go for a walk, or, something that is more physically active and contributes to, life and wellness versus taking it away? I say it all the time.
It's an amazing thing. It really, it's like the most brilliant marketing ever by alcohol and spirit companies.
So true. It's true. So I'm going to take one more quick break and then we're going to come back to it. Okay, so in the next little bit, we'll cover a couple questions and then maybe we'll play a couple of games. So what I want to get into is this idea of masculinity and working with men to find this deeper place of getting to emotions, getting to their why, getting to a place where they can meditate and or get to this moment of gratitude on a daily basis or journal on a daily basis. And the people that you're dealing with, they're, very successful, have their own way about them, and probably have a very specific perspective about masculinity. How do you help the evolution of the mindset when it comes to a client who is very stuck in those maybe more traditional masculine ways?
You know what? It's just dude, give it a shot.
Okay.
Give it a shot, man. Try it out. Watch. You're going to like it. And most guys go for it. And I think there's something about the brand that F it 40 is fucking fit over 40. It's bold. It's strong. Our line is our logo flexing, where it's guys who have everything you just described are very invited and attracted to it. And then it's just bro, you're here. Try this out. Tell me if you like it. And most of the time they really do.
Yeah. So it's interesting because you just kind of answered the question that I was going to ask you next, but the name is bold, fucking fit over 40. I thought to myself, am I going to say F fit or am I just going to go for it on the podcast? Because typically I don't swear that much, but I'm like, no, it's fucking fit over 40. There's a reason for the name. And so what I wanted to ask you was, what was your mindset when you created the program? And what kind of mindset are you calling people into with that name?
Yeah, I love the question. It's kind of the mind that I'm being lazy and undisciplined with myself. I needed that slap and that wake up call and that shock factor.
Yeah.
I really did. I wish I would have gotten it, a decade earlier, but everything happens for a reason. So no regrets. And it's certainly what guys who come to us need to hear now.
Love it. Okay. It's a bit of a game time. So we're going to play Own It or Overcome It. So you're going to tell us whether we should own it and lean into it or overcome it, break up with it. We're going to keep it fast, funny, insightful. If you want to elaborate on anything, feel free. But let's get on into it. So the first Own It or Overcome It, I have a feeling I know the answer, but doom scrolling before bed.
Overcome it.
Morning espresso before water.
Overcome it.
I'm fine as your default response.
Overcome it.
Can you elaborate on that one? Because I know even with my husband, like I can tell something's wrong and I'm like, are you okay with it? I'll press and ask. And he's like, I'm fine. And I want to get deeper. What's the turning point? How do we help our loved ones overcome it?
I think I think it's situational. I don't think every moment is an opportunity to share and like sit down for 20 minutes and talk about our emotions,
Yes.
right? We've got to compartmentalize.
Yes.
So sometimes like I'm fine is fine, but I was thinking that, there's more, even saying I'm fine sends like subliminal messages to the brain, in my opinion. And I just think that like saying I'm good or, all good, stuff like that, I think is a better way to say I'm fine. And if you're really not fine, which is okay too, then that's when it's time to talk, to take action, to, create a plan, to become good.
Got it. Okay. So green juice as a meal replacement.
What are your goals?
Weight loss.
How quickly?
Quickly enough.
It can help for a juice cleanse.
Yeah.
But it's not a way to lose weight on a long-term basis.
Yeah.
It's a really part of a bigger picture, right? Like if you were to replace lunch with green juice, but you're still hitting your like protein and macro goals on the day, then maybe it's not such a big deal.
Yeah.
But, if you think you're going to get away as a 45-year-old man who's trying to lose weight and put on muscle with like green juice for lunch and green juice, and protein shake for dinner, that's not a sustainable way to live.
Agreed.
Right. So it depends on the whole overview.
Yep.
I like the question though, but I can't answer that.
It's quickly. All good. It's kind of like, it depends. I get it. So I wanted to quickly ask you, one of these, own it or overcome it. Again, I think I kind of know the answer, but working out to kind of punish yourself.
Mm-hmm. Overcome it. You don't need to punish yourself. If you're going to work out hard because, that was part of your plan the night before when you said, I'm going to go ahead and, eat 2 pizzas by myself and some ice cream.
Yeah.
First of all, I would say try not to eat so much in one sitting, even if you want to have some treats, cool, but maybe not so much. But that said, like if your plan is I'm going to have like a big ass dinner on Friday night and Saturday morning, I'm going to like go and have a really like juicy lifting day, or for all my Jewish brothers and sisters who keep Shabbat, Saturday night and then Sunday, whatever the case may be. It's like, cool. If it's part of the plan, great. I'm all for it. I'm actually all for it, but not punishment. It's like, I'm going to use my macros. I'm going to use all those calories. I love that. I'm going to use all that energy and output even more. I train like that a lot personally. And I've helped so many guys get in great shape by saying, dude, it's okay. Let yourself go a bit, but time it smart.
It's all about the timing.
What I'm not okay with,
and
what I think people need to stop doing is letting themselves go like as if they can't control what they're doing and then feeling guilty and punishing themselves afterwards.
Right.
Okay. That's where there's a massive opportunity to improve and to grow.
Got it.
So that's the big distinction.
I have a question as a little bit of a follow-up. I know a lot of the men that you work with probably already have some kind of workout, strength training routine, but they get shredded with you. So what do you kind of do to switch out of their usual like workout plan of, I work out 3 to 5 times a week, I lift heavy, and suddenly they're working with you and they look like they've never looked before? What's the
it's
transition?
Amazing. Our guys in their 40s look better than guys in their 20s and 30s.
Totally.
Yeah. And me too. I was like a chubby guy in my 30s with a dad bod. And now I consistently have abs like for 3 years straight.
It's amazing.
So I get it. And I'm not trying to show off. I'm just trying to say but
I think it's an effective program, right? Like
every breath you take to it either.
Yeah.
So what it is that it's a 360-degree program. It's a full on like way to live where life is still enjoyable, but in creating the program, we've taken into account every part of life that a man in this demographic above the age of 40 who's busy, you know, like where there's an opportunity to optimize
Yep.
His life, to get more bang for his buck, more out of his time. Two people can go to the gym, and our 40 minutes in the gym is going to be more effective than someone else's hour and a half in the gym. Right. And so that's where the science comes in. That's where, the evidence and the hacks that we've, really like turned rocks to find and to achieve and to put together really comes in handy. And that's why the program is that much better. Then from a nutritional standpoint, we've created an amazing, way to eat protocols on how to eat, how not to eat, things to give up. And, and then it ties back into the motivation and discipline, right? Like, I think that's really what helps guys get to that place that they want to get to. It's because they feel inspired and they feel accountable once they, join our program,
right?
To stay in it, right? Most people can do anything for a couple weeks or for a month, but to do it for like 6 months, a year, year and a half, 2 years,
a lifestyle.
That's life changing.
Yes.
So I think we're experts with inspiration and motivation, honestly. And I think then it's our actual protocols that are just that much more effective than what's out there. But that's what happens when you invest in a niche program versus a program that's good for like you, your mother, your child, and your partner, right? Like,
absolutely.
It's really focus, hone in, understand who you are, where you are, and find the thing that is best for you, given where you are.
I love that. That's very much aligned with, my company, Health Collective. We're very focused on perimenopausal, menopausal women, again, successful women who kind of have it all, have the family, but also have kind of lost themselves. So I feel you on that kind of niche targeting. All right. Let's do a few more, own it or overcome it. So vision boarding.
Own it.
Tracking every macro.
Own it for at least 2 weeks, ideally 1 month, to become a master. Then you can stop. And then if you derail at any point, get back on the train for a week or for 2 weeks, and then you can stop again.
Yeah. I call it baking versus cooking when I chat with my clients, because for a time you need to be scientific and you need to bake, and then you can kind of like dabble with the ingredients and cook. But if you lose sight of what you're doing, then you got to go back to baking. All right. CBD for stress.
What was it?
CBD for stress.
CBD for stress?
Yeah.
Like if it works for somebody, like, do you mean like eating it?
Yeah.
Listen, there's a lot of different modalities for stress. If it works for an individual, go for it. I personally haven't really dabbled with CBD. For me, all these years, I've wanted to stick with like only using what God gave me.
I love it. I love it. Canceling plans for alone time.
Own it.
Saying yes to avoid guilt.
Overcome it, y'all.
Yes.
Come on.
Awesome. Okay. Next game. And then we're going to do a quick close. High stakes hot seat. In terms of choosing one opinion, you don't have to give an explanation. Just tell us what you prefer. Breath work or therapy?
Breath work.
Weights or yoga? Not easy. Weights. Okay.
Today it's weights, but in the past it was yoga.
Interesting. Okay. So we've evolution. Fasting or snacking?
Fasting.
Coaching one-on-one or leading retreats?
One-on-one.
Bali or Banff?
Bali.
Journaling or jumping in the ocean?
Woo. Jumping in the ocean.
Nice. Me too. Meditation before or after coffee?
Before.
Spiritual books or Spotify playlists?
Spiritual books.
Airplane aisle or window seat?
Aisle.
Same. Date night, hiking or tasting menu?
Tasting menu.
Nice. Amazing. I love it. Okay. Last few questions.
You didn't see that one coming, huh?
No, I actually didn't, but I love it because sometimes on a date night, that's what you want to do. Okay. So when you feel yourself
This program in my lifestyle is all about, I was just going to say, the F40 program in my lifestyle is all about actually having some balance. It's like the most optimized way to do it. Like, that's why I always tell guys, we hack the system. So it's not about like, you always got to hike or, do without. No, it's just fucking hack the system, man.
I love it.
And have what you want and feel great and look great.
I love it. I love it. And I think it is all around hard work. You have to work hard to find your why. You have to work hard as you work out. You have to work hard as you get in those steps, as you find the right balance when it comes to nutrition. But once that phase is kind of in progress, you can treat yourself and hack the system. So I love that. Do you have a daily mantra that can help people get through?
Yeah. First of all, I believe a lot in mantras because it's a form of self-talk. And I think self-talk is dictating our actions and our lives and our reality. So yeah, I've got a couple. One is life is what you make of it. Saying that on repeat sometimes is very powerful. Sometimes I actually have it tattooed on the inside of my arm in Hebrew. I
love it.
And sometimes another affirmation that I'll use if I'm feeling a bit stressed or a little bit heightened from like an anxiety perspective, then I might just literally like meditate for a moment and say, I am grounded. I am grounded. I am grounded. Sometimes I feel like I got too many things to do and it's just like overwhelming. I literally might say, I am enough.
Love it.
I am enough. I am enough. Because that feeling of overwhelm, I think is that we're trying so hard to like be more and do it all. And, by like taking a few deep nose to belly breaths and saying, I am enough, I'm enough, or I got this, I got this, I got this. It really helps me just like recenter.
Amazing.
And it's just incredible if you can slow down the breath with those affirmations, right? You slow down the breath, all of a sudden you're changing your nervous system.
Yep.
And, you feel way different.
Yep, absolutely. That 4-7-8 breathing. Okay, last and most important questions. Where can our listeners go to connect with you, your work, your coaching, or pick up your book?
So on Instagram at Julian Brass, which I'm sure you guys will all see in the show notes.
Yes.
Online on my website, it's ffit40. So fit with 2 Fs. And the number 40.com, ffit40.com. Those are probably the best ways to really connect with our brand and with myself right now.
Yep.
Sign up to our newsletter, download our macro guide or some of our free guides. Learn about what we do. If you're a man over 40 who's serious about really, I don't even like just saying getting in the best shape of your life because I think it sounds so cliche. And it's like a lot of guys aren't necessarily wanting to get in the best shape of their lives. They're just wanting to get in good shape again or for the first time.
Absolutely.
So if you want to, get better and, show up for your family in a way better way, have a better love life with your partner.
Yes.
Feel sexy again, feel confident when you go into the boardroom, have more energy to play with your kids or to dance at your grandkids' wedding, all that kind of stuff. Then, come look us up.
I love that. Everyone come look Julian Brass up, ffit40.com. Thank you so much for coming on. I know it was tight. I know you were in your car, but we learned a lot. You are amazing. And I thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you. I really enjoyed being here, Nicole. It was awesome. It was a pleasure to be here with you. And we'll see you again soon.
See you soon.